Okay, everybody, we got here how the US stole Latin America. Bro, show me where they didn't steal something.
Military officer is known as a hero and liberator across Latin America for leading the charge for independence from Spanish rule. His name was Simón Bolívar, and he was Venezuelan. In 1829, he wrote, "The United States seems destined by Providence to plague America with misery in the name of freedom." 200 years later, and in every year since, he has proven correct.
Venezuela, people are free. They're free again.
They may use the language of freedom, but what this is really...
What? Trump, he removed the sanctions on Venezuela, so they're free now again. This is the only dictatorship they're living under. US sanctions.
about is theft.
Nicolas Maduro says he has been kidnapped by the US.
So we'll be selling large amounts of oil.
We'll be turning over between 30 and 50 million barrels of high-quality sanctioned oil to the US.
Calling this colonialism and neo-colonialism.
Theft is the foundation of American power. From the invention of the USA on stolen indigenous land to the kidnapping of stolen African bodies forced to build a new nation on stolen time and labor. And it has stolen from outside its borders ever since. That is especially the case in its own backyard.
Definitely true. America lives on exploiting other countries. Without exploiting other countries, there's no America. Forget about it. The states, they would eat each other.
Both to extract wealth and to ensure that alternative systems of wealth can never survive. Venezuela is just a window into how American wealth and power have always worked, through plunder, and history proves it.
Peace comes to Guatemala.
Hi everyone, it's Tala. Before we dive deeper, we want to give a special thank you to our supporters on Patreon. Doing this work takes time, resources, and editorial independence, so it wouldn't be possible without our supporters online. If you believe in what we're doing and want to be a part of this with us, you can join our Patreon. It's how we keep this going. Now back to the video. It's the 1950s in Guatemala. The majority indigenous Mayan population live in extreme poverty, forced to work land they don't own. Meanwhile, the largest landowner in the entire country, along with owning the railroad, port, and telecommunications, is an American
It sounds like economically slavery.
corporation, the United Fruit Company. Guatemalans refer to it as the octopus, its tentacles reaching every corner of not just Guatemala, but most of Central America.
For many years, these fascinating tropical countries have been served by United Fruit Company's Great White Fleet.
On its plantations, workers toil under horrible conditions. Many are debt slaves, and poverty, illiteracy, and malnutrition are widespread. Then in 1951, Jacobo Arbenz comes to power with a mission to redistribute land to ensure the poor have their own, including hundreds of thousands of acres of unused land owned by the United Fruit Company.
Listen, just the fact that you don't own land, that doesn't make sense. How don't you own land? It should be a right. Everybody should own a piece of land, no matter what. That should just be a human right.
They were offered compensation, but that didn't matter. United Fruit
I got land, but I also know because I got that land, I feel free. I can't imagine somebody without land, but that's maybe how somebody feels so dependent on the state, because they don't have land, they can't do nothing.
would not allow this to continue.
They are in symbiosis with the system.
No less a figure than John Foster Dulles, head of the State Department, was part of the firm of lawyers acting for the United Fruit Company. His brother Alan was the head of the CIA. So it didn't take much of an effort on their part to persuade their president, a military man, Mr. Eisenhower, to give them the green light to overthrow Arbenz's government.
A CIA operation, codenamed PB Success, mobilized disaffected exiles and peasants into action.
What we wanted to do was have a terror campaign.
The CIA trained mercenaries on the ground, even creating a document to train them in the act of killing. One line from the manual says, "Absolute reliability is obtained by severing the spinal cord in the cervical region."
I can't fathom that America has not been subject for arrest of the president, CIA, and everything, and how they haven't been going to jail for this. This is crazy, man. All the things you're doing, America. What the fuck?
Insurgents stand guard at a Honduras airstrip while newspaper...
Using these mercenaries and CIA aerial support, Arbenz was overthrown in a military coup in 1954, and an exiled military dictator was installed in his place.
Crowds celebrating their release from Red Terror.
Washington denied responsibility.
The information available to the United States thus far strongly suggests that the situation does not involve aggression, but is a revolt of Guatemala.
This is exactly what they mean when they speak about, talk about the New World Order.
Guatemalans against Guatemalans.
Documents confirming US involvement were declassified in 1997. One document was titled Selection of Individuals for Disposal, and another CIA and Guatemala Assassination Proposals. The overthrow of Arbenz ushered in a series of brutal military...
I got it now. How the hell haven't they gotten prosecuted? What is needed to prosecute America? That would be interesting.
Governments and continued structural inequality, eventually leading to a civil war that would last 36 years. Indigenous Mayan regions were systematically targeted, resulting in over 200,000 deaths in what is now recognized as a genocide. The US knew what was happening, and along with Israel, facilitated it through providing continued weapons, training, and intelligence.
Of course, that ugly state shows its face.
According to journalist Vijay Prashad, Guatemala would become a template that would be used over and over again against anyone who pursued economic nationalism or threatened the market domination of transnational corporations.
I can understand, wherever there is a genocide, or somebody is getting genocided, or some group of people, somehow the Israelis somehow are getting involved. And always somehow with weapons, not with food or anything else, but with weapons.
That would be on display again 19 years later. And this is where we'll see another weapon used by the American empire to steal from other countries: economic warfare.
A land of economic contrast, of great wealth and great poverty. The nation's wealth concentrated in the hands of a very few.
It's 1970 in Chile, and Salvador Allende, a socialist, has won the presidential election.
I hoped it, but he just failed. That's his main problem. He should have kept Allende from getting in.
The US did not like him, and they had spent a decade trying to stop this moment, pouring tens of millions of dollars into covert operations and propaganda, even effectively buying Chile's most influential newspaper. See, Allende was a threat because he threatened American corporate interests. Under Allende, factories were...
So, by default, the CIA actually owns the country.
worker-owned, labor rights expanded, poverty programs grew, and key industries like copper were nationalized, a moment Chileans marked as the Day of National Dignity. At the time, Chile's largest copper mines were owned by two American companies, Anaconda and Kennecott. And there were other companies making big money, like ITT and Communications.
Estas mismas empresas que explotaron el cobre chileno durante muchos decenios, solo en los últimos 42 años retiraron más de 4.000 millones de dólares de utilidades. 4.000 millones de dólares transformarían totalmente a mi patria. Solo una pequeña parte de esta suma aseguraría proteínas para siempre a todos los niños de mi patria.
President Nixon and National Security Advisor
huge profits following the coup due to favorable policies enacted by the government, including a violent campaign against labor unions, slashing corporate tax liability, a divestment in education and public services, and many other policies aimed to sell off the rights and riches of the Chilean working class.
Chile shows how powerful the economic toolbox really is. Even a country with the resources to build a just economy may struggle and even fail if the US empire decides that it must. Which brings us to Venezuela, where we're not just talking about money, but oil money.
Venezuela unilaterally seized and sold American oil.
America, someday, damn. Come is a bitch.
Assets and American platforms.
And not the people. The people are good. But your elite, they're gonna get calmer, man.
Costing us billions and billions of dollars.
Venezuela sits on the largest...
That's the funny thing. People are not dumb. People got internet. People got ways to inform themselves. They got everything, man. They lock one place, some other place is gonna pop up. They stop TikTok, some new platform's gonna take over. They stop YouTube, some new platform's gonna take over. Bro, the elite is losing.
Proven oil reserves in the world. Throughout the 20th century, American oil companies were deeply involved in Venezuela's oil sector. Then in 1998, Hugo Chavez was elected president, a former military officer and the first non-white president in a majority non-white country.
The overwhelming majority of Chavez's support came from the poor, who represent 80% of the population.
See, despite having incredible oil wealth, most Venezuelans were very poor, the wealth hoarded by local elites and foreign companies. Chavez ran on a platform to reclaim national resources and use them for local development. And in 2001, Chavez passed a law which ensured the state oil company had a majority stake in all oil ventures with a foreign firm. American oil giants were not happy about it.
Inspired by Simón Bolívar, the man who had liberated Venezuela from Spanish rule in the 19th century, Chavez, through his self-proclaimed Bolivarian revolution, now aimed to free Venezuela from a new form of domination, that of the free market policies being imposed on Venezuela by Washington.
Something else he did was revitalize OPEC, the Organization for Petroleum Exporting Countries, by hosting its first summit in 25 years. See, OPEC had already shown once that it could bring the US empire to its knees.
The oil-producing countries of the Arab world decided to use their oil as a political weapon. They will reduce oil production by 5% a month until the Israelis withdraw from occupied territories.
The impact was immediate and severe. Oil prices quadrupled, fuel shortages spread, electricity was rationed, and the Western world was thrown into a full-blown energy crisis.
America's complete support of Zionism against the Arabs makes it extremely difficult for us to continue to supply the United States petroleum needs.
I think what we have as an oil weapon is far more greater than what we did. What we did is nothing at all.
The US empire faced a big blow and wouldn't allow it to happen again. With time, internal divisions, and US scheming, OPEC lost much of its political power. But Chavez was trying to restore it. So for several reasons, he was a problem. And the narrative warfare began.
Desde Washington, el secretario de Estado norteamericano, Colin Powell, expresó su preocupación por ciertas acciones del presidente de Venezuela.
We have been concerned with some of the actions of Venezuelan President Chavez and his understanding of what a democratic system is all about.
For the United States, Venezuela had always been a reliable and affordable source of oil. Chavez, by deciding to exercise greater control over the state oil company and to push up oil prices, had set himself on a collision course with Washington.
President Chavez is consorting with narco-terrorists in Colombia.
In February 2002, Chavez announced his plan to shake up the state oil company and to put his own people on the management board. The war had begun.
¿Usted cree que el presidente de la República está loco?
El chavismo se apoya crecientemente en la violencia a medida que va perdiendo poder de convocatoria y popularidad. Se parecen a las fuerzas de choque que empleaban Mussolini y Hitler.
The privately owned media began calling on Venezuelans to demonstrate, suggesting that Chavez's attempts to control the oil industry were a direct attack on their prosperity.
He wants us to become a Cuba. He wants this to become a communist. There is no doubt about it.
At the head of the opposition to Chavez were two key figures: Pedro Carmona, president of Venezuela's largest business federation, and Carlos Ortega, head of CTV, a trade union with strong ties to the old political system. Both men traveled to Washington to meet with high-ranking members of the Bush administration and to discuss President Chavez.
That same year, Chavez was overthrown in a coup led by Venezuelan business elites. But it failed, because within 2 days, masses came out in support of Chavez, and he was reinstalled.
The military sends a helicopter to pick up Chavez. Chavez gets back to the presidential palace.
It's something like a movie, a Hollywood movie. He comes back in a helicopter in the night and the people are waiting for him. And he says, "Oh, here I am, go to sleep, I'm here, I'm president again."
Side note, a year after this,
Indeed, the facts and Iraq's behavior show that Saddam Hussein and his regime are concealing their efforts to produce more weapons of mass destruction.
American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger.
but back
I hope your mother gets fucked by a donkey.
to Venezuela.
We are facing an empire that wants to become the owner of the world.
A giant octopus with the name ExxonMobil written on Uncle Sam's hat.
We will never give this, our wealth, our nation, to the United States empire, even if the Venezuelan oligarchs scream or if the United States and its multinational companies attacks us.
In 2013, Chavez died. His successor, Nicolas Maduro, was elected to take over soon after. His presidency would be marked by a familiar playbook, and ultimately sanctions, one of the empire's most brutal tools.
A total $7 billion in assets blocked today, plus over $11 billion in lost export proceeds over the next year.
El shock externo que vivió Venezuela fue del 99% de sus ingresos. Imagínense la repercusión que ha podido tener en la vida nacional.
Sanctions affect ordinary people the most, making daily life nearly impossible. In response to this economic strangulation, Venezuela made a major move against the US empire.
The country with the world's largest proven oil reserves is now publishing its oil prices in yuan. Venezuela says the switch to Chinese currency is part of a push to become free from what it calls the tyranny of the dollar.
See, oil is different from other resources in that everybody needs it. And since the 1970s, almost all oil is traded in US dollars, thanks to a system called the petrodollar system. This means that anyone buying oil must first acquire dollars, creating constant global demand for the currency. The petrodollar system upholds US financial dominance, which allows Washington to control international lending, banking, and sanctions, giving it enormous leverage over other countries. So anyone who steps outside this system directly threatens the US empire's grip on power. Saddam tried to do it, Gaddafi tried to do it, and Maduro tried to do it. While all this is happening, a new geopolitical order is being carved out. Maduro, having a strategic partnership with China, doesn't fit well into that plan. So the US empire has escalated further. Frozen assets, charges of narco-terrorism as the leader of the invented Cartel of the Suns, a bounty on Maduro's head, a military buildup in the Caribbean, and stealing oil tankers.
Donald Trump has just unleashed his pirates on a Venezuelan oil tanker, shamelessly seizing the cargo like a common thief.
And that brings us to January 2026.
It's a long walk to face the wrath of American justice for Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia.
Whatever.
You know, I actually like Trump. Trump is the best president America could have. You know why? Biden, he know how to play the game. He tell you one thing, he do a totally different thing, and then he don't understand nothing. And then you have like Obama. Obama, everybody fall for him. Everybody think he not do anything. He no bad guy. He big bad guy. Drones, everything, bro. Who's before him? It was like Bush. Bush, bro. He's a snake oil salesman. And his father before him, and Bill, bro. Bill, he show you one hand, with the other hand he's stealing everything. But yeah, so that's why Trump is the best, because Trump, he's showing what America's real plan is, what the deep state really want, what the old money really want, what the elites want, what America really want. The other guys, they knew how to play politician. Like if it was Biden, and he wanted Greenland, they probably could make an arrangement about sharing it and all that. But Trump is more aggressive. He's just saying everything what they're saying to him. He can't keep his mouth shut. So that's a great president for the rest of the world, not for America and the elite.
Whatever you think about Chavez or Maduro, US involvement in Venezuela has always been about oil and the financial leverage that comes with it. This isn't about good leaders or bad leaders, whether it's in Guatemala or Chile or
It's not about the leader. It's the real leaders behind the president.
Venezuela.
Bro, presidents change every 4 years, 8 years max. Listen, behind the scenes, there's somebody who's never changing, who's there for 40 years, who's there to tell the next president how to act, how to go, how to walk. Bruh.
Or any of the other Latin American countries that the US has intervened in, this is about the American empire securing its interests in its own backyard. They've spent decades training dictators and upholding regimes, and they've gone well beyond their backyard too. Iran, Iraq, Libya, Congo, Indonesia, Afghanistan, all to protect an economic system that keeps the empire's elites and their subcontractors rich.
The third world is not poor. You don't go to poor countries to make money. There are very few poor countries in this world. Most countries are rich, but there's billions to be made there, to be carved out and to be taken. There's been billions for 400 years. The capitalist European and North American powers have carved out and taken the timber, the flax, the hemp, the cocoa, the rum, the tin, the copper, the iron, the rubber, the bauxite, the slaves, and the cheap labor. They have taken out of these countries. These countries are not underdeveloped, they're overexploited.
The US empire has always relied on theft and extraction, and will continue to do so across the world to keep its grip on power.
Damn, that was a deep, what's it called, video. I liked it. And I liked how it was all connected and how they showed the connections. But yeah, we all knew it, we all know it. America, gonna get stopped sooner than later. Everybody gonna wake up. The only reason why America can do all this is because Europe, uh, Europe, Europe is its old wimp. All the countries listen, before Europe controlled the world, bro, and then they didn't, and now they're circle jerking America. So yeah, but it's maybe because they got taken over by
This military
America after World War One. World War One, World War Two. I think World War Two definitely. World War One was in the beginning. World War Two they got taken over Europe. That's maybe why. So Europe, America, the world will be free one day, and you can do nothing.